Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on February 28th, 2021. And this morning we are blessed to have Jenny Hooks as our speaker and to lead us in meditation. And we have our beloved musician, Faith Halverson Ramos, to provide us with music. So we will begin with a piece of music, please.
This is Center of Creation by Jennifer Ruth Russell. I am a center of creation. I am a seed planted in the stillness. I am a center of creation, fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. I am a center of creation. I am a tree rooted in fullness. I am a center of creation, fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. I am a center of creation. I am complete, living in wholeness. I am a center of creation, fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. Fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God.
Thank you, Faith, for reminding us of who we each are. And so it's at this time that we go into prayer together by taking a breath. Beloved presence, we are aware of what a gift and responsibility it is to be the center of creation. And with that in mind, we work through our thoughts and choose those that serve us the best and others the best. And it's a practice we engage in together as a community and individually. We're so appreciative of that opportunity and of this joyous opportunity to be together. And so it is. And we'll have one more piece of music.
This is Allowing by Susie Hulcher. It's all about allowing peace within, in absolute surrender, so serenity begins. For when the storm subsided and calm becomes the way, it's all about allowing it to stay. It's all about allowing love to flow. It's setting down your burden and just simply letting go. For as you cease the struggle and love pours through your heart,
Thank you so much, Faith. And let us open our hearts to welcome Jenny Hooks and her message.
Hello, everybody. Long time no see. It's good to see all of you. It's been quite a month here for me. I don't know, in December on Christmas Eve, I got a call that my sister was very ill. And so I flew to Ohio Christmas Day. And I was here for a couple of weeks and went home, and then got another call, I don't know, the end of January, and flew back. And I've been in Ohio since and taken a leave of absence. My sister is in hospice with end stage MS. And so today's talk, I think, is lessons from the dying, because that's what my service is, and that's what my Dharma is today, is to be here in Ohio and caring for someone who's very close to the end of life. When I worked in hospice years ago, there are certain patients and families that have stayed in my memory forever. And one was an elderly man. He lived there in Longmont, at those apartments behind Taco Bell. I can't remember, it's independent living building. And when he wasn't able to stay with himself, he moved in with his son and daughter-in-law and their kids in Westminster. And it was there that I was visiting him when the father was explaining death to his children. And they were primary grades, between 5 and 10 years old, I would think. And the dad had a glove. And he said, "Look what my glove can do." And he moved his hand around and he was silly with it. And then he took off the glove and he said, "Oh, look at my glove. It can't do anything at all." And he used the analogy of who we really are is not this body, but that energy, that spark inside the glove. And explaining that Grandpa could still make them laugh just by thinking about him, and that Grandpa could make them cry by remembering a story that he told them, and all these ideas, because that energy, that love is still there and will always be there. And I thought, what an excellent explanation of death for a child. That the glove isn't anything at all. The body isn't anything at all without that spirit in it, without that heart, that spark of divinity. And my sister has lost so much function from MS. She's bedbound. She cannot use her dominant hand. She can kind of move her arm, but she couldn't pick up a pen or sign her name or feed herself. And she was able to use her non-dominant hand, but even that is fading. The ability to swallow is fading. And if I give her a bite of food, she has to think about swallowing. So one night we're in the room and a nurse came in to give her some medicine. And the nurse looked tired and weary and ready for her shift to be over. And my sister commented, and they started talking. And the nurse left the room laughing as a result of this exchange they had. And I said to my sister, "Do you see that you're so much more than your body? That you served that woman beautifully. You gave her exactly what she needed. And you did it with no legs that you can move. You did it with arms that barely move. And yet you served her well. And that you know, you may have a clunker for a body, but the spirit in you is so very alive and still serving. And she hadn't thought about that. And a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to do a blessing. We do so many memorial services after someone's died. And yet, all the things that we talk about at that service, why aren't we saying now? So I did a blessing of the body, starting at the eyes. We bless your eyes, Peggy, for the love that you shared with us, for the twinkle in your eye, for the tears that you shed in laughter and in sadness. We bless your ears because you listen to us so well. And just continue down the body, blessing all the parts of her, the ones that worked well and the ones that are no longer working at all. And we express gratitude as we went down for each body part, gratitude for her eyes and her ears. And then afterwards, the 25 or so family members on the Zoom call were able to express what they appreciated most. She took kind of a big decline a day or two later. And I asked her what she wanted to do on the next Zoom call with family, if she wanted us to do another blessing. She said, I don't know that I can say it, or even if I can say it now, I don't know the day of the call how my speech will be. But I want to thank everyone. I want to extend a blessing to them. And so we did that. And she said to family, some of you are far away, Oregon, Canada, but I feel you close to my heart. And I know that you're with me. And it was such a beautiful exchange of energy in these very strange times when normally those people would have come with me to Ohio and we'd be all gathered together to be with her. And Peggy did acknowledge that she thought she got a lemon for a body. And we talked about, you know, well, maybe it's time to turn it in and drive off the lot with a new one, and have joked a little bit about this body. And yet what we know about our body is that the only way that you can attain God is in the body of a human being. To go to Vaikuntha, to go to heaven forever, and break the cycle of birth and death only comes when you are in a body. And so, clunker or not, each of us are born into the body that will teach us the lessons that we need to learn in this lifetime. And so rather than being with Peggy and seeing suffering, I see someone who is learning challenging lessons. I never said those words to her. The other night, I was reading some of Facebook feeds from a cousin in Maryland to her, and she says, I want to send her a note. So Margaret and Mary are the cousins that she stayed in touch with on Facebook, and they have a sister, Maureen, who died of MS. And so Peggy asked me to write just a note that I'm at the end of my life and how she cherished the memories of being with them as kids, and I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And they wrote back, and so she wanted to respond to that, and she said, I don't know, I don't remember signing up for these lessons, but I have sure learned a lot about living with MS. And I was really touched by that. She has been an amazingly positive person. So you can imagine, maybe you can, maybe you can't, slowly losing the ability to pick up your toothbrush and brush your own teeth, to use a spoon or a piece of silverware to eat food. And yet she stayed positive this last year, despite COVID, despite all that she was losing from her physical body. And clearly it was getting harder. So I took a leave of absence, and assisted living is no place for the dying. You put on your call light because you can't breathe, and you might wait an hour for medicine. So by the time the medicine comes, it doesn't work so well because you've gotten anxious, and that little dose of morphine that usually takes away the shortness of breath suddenly isn't effective. So yesterday we moved out of the assisted living into corporate housing. This is my new bedroom for the time being. And she can get her meds when she wants them, and family members can come and visit because she's only seen me since a year ago. Of course, if you're only going to see one person in the family for a year, it's lucky she got. But anyway, so, and I've been sleeping in a chair in the assisted living, not every night, but the nights she's struggling. So it's been quite a roller coaster that we've been on. And I have been in awe that she could have had this last year with all of her health decline and isolation and be positive. I think it's the most amazing thing ever that anybody could be so positive despite all that they've going through. And I asked her about that, and she said, well, I have a few days and I'm miserable, and I think I don't want to be miserable. So I got to think about this differently. And she does. And that is just awesome to be able to say, I'm not going to be miserable. So I grew up in a family where our first language was not English. Our first language was sarcasm, and English was the second language. Despite a family that often played cards, we were not good at calling a spade a spade. So here I am with my sister, and she's dying, and I don't know what to say. I feel like I open a few windows to talk about what is, and the conversation gets changed, or, oh, will you see what's on TV? Is it time for Jeopardy? And so then, that makes me feel crazy because I'm like, anybody see what I see? But I persisted of just opening windows, just open-ended questions, leaving an opportunity for discussion. And slowly we began to talk about it. And when we did the blessing of the body, it changed, something shifted through that experience, that Peggy was able to talk about dying and what's important. And for me, that's very refreshing, just to be able to acknowledge it and to have permission to say goodbye or say whatever it is that I want to say, and to hear from her whatever she wants to express. So we ended up in the emergency room and signing out of hospice, going to the emergency room for uncontrolled pain because she had a kidney stone. Kidney stone must be the nemesis of my family's bodies, I've decided. But so it was a large kidney stone, and they took her to the OR, and they were going to put in a stent and drain the infection behind the stone and then do surgery 2 weeks later. So the surgeon calls me after the short procedure and says, everything went great. She'll be up to the room in a half hour. Half hour goes by, nobody shows up in her room. 45 minutes, nothing. An hour, a nurse from recovery says, we're having trouble maintaining her blood pressure, so it might be another hour. Half hour after that, the surgeon calls and says, we want to take her to ICU. And I said, ICU? Because we're comfort care only. And he said, well, we need to maintain her blood pressure, and we need to observe her in the OR, and we need to be able to give her medications to raise her blood pressure. And the only place we give those meds are in the ICU. And I said, so let me get this right. Her blood pressure drops and she has a peaceful death, or we can keep her alive and then she can die a slow death, not being able to swallow or breathe well. And he goes, well, she'll die. And I said, yes, she'll die. So he said, okay, can we just keep her overnight in the ICU and we won't do the meds? We'll just do whatever care she wants. And I said, well, that's fine with me if I can spend the night. So I had a bed in the ICU. That was a nice little compromise in the age of COVID. So we get to the ICU and a doctor comes in and explains the blood pressure meds they want to administer. And I said, no, we said you could monitor her here. We're not doing this. And so he explained everything and she says, no, I don't want it. Another doctor comes in, well, I'm the resident and I just need to verify. Goes through the whole thing again. No, I don't want that treatment. I guess the senior resident came in next and brings it up. And I said, stop. I'm sorry you're not comfortable with her decision. A third time of bringing this up is badgering. If she'd said, I wanted the treatment, would you have asked her 3 times or would you have accepted her answer the first time? So that was the end of that conversation. And then they were lost lambs, those nurses and doctors in the ICU, like, well, we're not going to do a cut down and put in a vein in her neck, and we're not putting in an arterial line. And what are we supposed to do? And they didn't want her to have food when we got there because they wanted her to be without any food so they could do the surgical procedure to put in the central line. And I said, well, we're not doing that. And they said, well, we don't serve food in the ICU. And I said, fine, I'll go get some from the cafeteria. She's hungry. So it was just such a silly little nightmare excursion. And I was sitting in the ICU and I thought, I guess our Dharma tonight is to teach them that it's okay to die. That must be why we were there. Why else would we be there? So we moved off to a comfort care floor, and the chaplain from palliative care comes in the next day and says to Peg, are there any rituals or any prayers you'd like me to do based on your religious practice? And my sister says, it doesn't matter which ritual or practice you do because it's not about religion. It's about your relationship with God. And that's all that really matters. And I thought, oh, I guess we're here to teach the chaplains. And so we were there. We ended up being in the hospital for 6 days. And then we went back to the assisted living for 48 hours. And then yesterday we moved in here where we are staying for the duration. So it's just been a journey. And it's nice that now, my brother's in the other room sitting with her while I'm on the Zoom service with you, and she can have a quality of life that she couldn't have in an assisted living or some other setting. So that's where we are here in Ohio right now. When I was going through Facebook with my sister, one of my cousins posted a poem. And before I left, I was thinking, I my divorce is final. I need to do a will. I need to do advance directives, and was pulling stuff together and came across this prayer that was in a Reform Jewish prayer book that's said before Kaddish. And Kaddish is the prayer that you say for the dead in a Jewish synagogue. And I said, I'm going to have that read. I'm going to put that with my paper. So if my kids like it and they want to read it at my memorial service someday, it'll be there. So I read it to my sister because it was on my cousin's post and it was the exact same one. And so I'm going to share it with you now. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that want to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me and the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love does not die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. And so it is.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for your presence and your wisdom and sharing these lessons from the dying. We are so blessed to have you today, as is your sister and your family. Shall we move on to a piece of music? Faith, will you provide us with a piece of music?
Do you see me?
Not yet.
Am I there?
I see you in the panel. Go ahead and start, and that'll bring you up to speaker view.
Okay. So this is Be Still and Know by Penelope Williams. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know that you are. Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know. Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know that you are. Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know. Be still and know that we are God. Be still and know that we are. Be still and know that we are God. Be still and know. Be still and know that we are God. Be still and know that we are. Be still and know that we are God. Be still and know. Be still and know.
Thank you so much, Faith. And it's at this time that we go into our donation of love and light by taking a breath together and placing our hands on our heart. And we become aware of that love and light within us and allow it to expand, allow it to be shared. And we're reminded today by our speaker, Jenny, that that love and light is eternal. So not only are we the living sharing it, but those who have transitioned may be sharing it with us also, filling our world with love and light. And keeping our hearts open, we take a breath and gently open our eyes. And so it is. And we'll finish with a piece of music.
This is Child of This Universe by Faith Rivera. I am a child of this universe. The ocean dances at my feet. The wind plays a melody through my hair. I am loved at every turn. I am kissed by Mother Earth. I am a child of this universe. The sun warms me in its embrace. The stars have aligned for me in the sky. I am honored by all life. I am held by Father Time. I am a child of this universe. Through my breath, all of life can breathe. I plant the seeds with my every dream. I can love at every turn. Give a kiss to Mother Earth. I am a child of this universe. I greet the God in each face. I am a channel for peace to flow. Oh, I honor all of life. Yes, I'm one with Father Time. I can love at